Okay, hi Year 7s. So, as you know, for your homework, you are going to watch this video. This is me doing a demonstration for the practical that you are going to do next week. So, the practical is coleslaw. First thing we do when we enter the kitchen, what is it? Correct, we wash our hands. So, we wash our hands really thoroughly. We know why. We bring lots and lots of bacteria and germs into the kitchen from your last class, from the bus, from just having had lunch, okay? So we wash all that bacteria and all those germs thoroughly off our hands. When we've done that, we get an apron. So, as we know, we put our apron on as soon as we've washed our hands before we collect our equipment. So, apron on securely, we collect our equipment. We need a dishcloth, a tea towel, and then an older tea towel which we use to wipe down our surfaces and the inside of our sink to make sure everything is dry and clean. For our practical, we need a chopping board, a glass bowl, a vegetable knife, a tablespoon, and a grater. Okay? So those are the equipment that we need for our practical. We then get out our food and we put it onto one of these white trays. So, 2 carrots, a quarter of an onion, a small piece of white cabbage, some salt and pepper, and also mayonnaise. Now girls, we only need 2 tablespoons of mayonnaise, so if you bring it in the container that you're going to put your coleslaw in to take home, that will make it much easier for you. Okay, so just bring what you need in the container. So the first job that we're going to do is we're going to wash our carrots. So I'm not actually going to peel them, because once we've washed them, they should be clean enough for us then to grate for our coleslaw. So I'm just going to wash them really, really well. And then I'm going to grate them. So we are using the coarse side of the grater, okay, the coarse side. It's got 2 other sides, but we want to have it quite chunky, so we're going to use the coarse side of the grater. So when we are grating away from ourselves, we're not doing it like this. Firstly, it's quite dangerous, and secondly, you'll probably end up with carrot all over the floor. So we're going to grate like this, away from ourselves. Remember, fingers, nails, knuckles, nowhere near the blades. Okay, they are very, very sharp, so we keep them well away. Okay, now we've grated our carrot. We need to get it out of our grater, and we need to put all that into our bowl. Okay, and I've set that on one side because we're going to use it for our onion later. So, the next thing we're going to do is take our cabbage. I'm just going to take the outer layer off, because I've not washed it, so I'm just taking the outer layer off. And I'm going to cut it into quarters. Now, note which technique am I using? Am I using the bridge hold or the claw grip? Okay, I'm going to write this down as one of the answers to one of the questions. Which hold am I using? So that's cut into quarters, and now I'm going to thinly slice it. So again, look at what technique I am using to hold my cabbage. So we're trying to get it quite even. So we're cutting it quite thinly into even pieces. We're going to add that to the carrot. So we're going to put that into a bowl and add it to the carrot. Next we are going to grate our onion. So again, I'm just going to take the outer layers off and I'm just going to chop off the tips, just those bits that are a little bit brown. We'll chop those off. Okay, and we are again going to use the grater. I'm just going to give it a little rinse. Put the carrot on it and just dry it just a little bit with my tea towel, just so it's not dripping wet. Okay, then I'm going to grate my onion. So again, we are using a coarse part of the grater. So if we look, we've got a very fine side, a medium side and a very coarse side, and this is the side we're going to use, this coarse side. So again, just be very careful of your fingers. You may need to keep turning the onion around to get a good hold on it so that you can grate it so it gets quite flimsy. Remember, we're keeping our fingers well away from the blade of the grater. If you don't get the whole onion grated, don't worry. Just grate as much as you can. And we're going to add our onion to our carrot and cabbage. Don't worry. Grate as much as you can. So yes, it might make you cry a little bit, but as long as you don't put your fingers next to your eyes or in your eyes, you're absolutely fine. Okay, I'm going to wash my hands again, get these bits of onion off my fingers. Okay. Right, so in our bowl we have cabbage, carrot and onion. And next we are going to add the mayonnaise. So remember, it's 2 tablespoons of mayonnaise. So we're going to put these in one at a time. So we put our mayonnaise, and then we're also going to add some salt and pepper. Okay, so this is just to season it. So just a pinch of salt and a pinch of pepper. And once we've added all that, we're going to mix it up really, really well to make sure that the mayonnaise is evenly distributed throughout the coleslaw. Cabbage. Really, really well, really thoroughly, so everything is all really nicely mixed. And that is our finished coleslaw. So we're going to set that on one side, and the next thing we need to do is tidy up. So we need to put all our bits of ends of the carrots and all the rubbish that we have collected. We need to put that in the bin. So remember, when we're putting it in the bin, we're not using our knife to scrape it off. We're leaving our knife on the surface. We are taking our tray or our chopping board, and we are just putting it into the bin with our hand. Okay, we're not using the knife. So then we are going to wash everything. Okay, we're going to wash everything really thoroughly. And also dry everything really thoroughly. Okay, everything needs to be well washed and completely dry before anything is put away. So we're also just going to wipe down our surface. So remember, we are leaving the area completely clear for the next person to use. So nice and clean and nice and dry. Okay, so ladies, you have watched me demonstrate making coleslaw. For your homework, you're going to answer the questions that I have given you, Ms. Patel has given you, and they are so that when you come into the kitchen for your coleslaw practical, you can be independent and you can get on and you have all the information that you need to complete your practical. So just to run over the questions quickly, the questions for homework. So, the first question, what is it that we're going to be making? So you're going to answer that in your book. What is it that we're going to be making? Which ingredients will you need to make your coleslaw? So which ingredients will you need to make your coleslaw? Are you going to note that down? What is the first thing that we must do as soon as we enter the food room? Okay, so what's the first thing that we must do? You're going to tell me why it is important that we wash our hands. Okay, why is it important that we always wash our hands before we prepare any food? Okay, why is it important? You're going to name the equipment that you will need to complete your food practical. So I have noted and told you all the pieces of equipment. You need to write them all down in your book. You're going to list the steps that you are going to undertake to complete your practical. Okay, so I've gone through them with you. You're going to list in your book what they are. So when you come into the food room, that's what you're going to follow. Okay, you're going to follow the steps. And then you're going to tell me finally which technique are you going to use when you are cutting your cabbage. So finally, all that's left is for you to divide your coleslaw between the pair. So the two of you will take half home. So remember that you need a container. So I'm going to empty half of this into my container. Try and bring one that has a clip lock lid. Okay, so then there's no chance that it is going to leak in your bag. It's really important. Okay, so I have got my coleslaw to take home, and that's the end of the practical. And you take it home and enjoy it for dinner. Okay. Your practical. Okay, so I've gone through them with you. You're going to list in your book what they are. So when you come into the food room, that's what you're going to follow. Okay, you're going to follow the steps. And then you're going to tell me finally which technique are you going to use when you are cutting your cabbage. When you're cutting your cabbage, will you use the claw grip or the bridge hold, or will you use both? And when will you use the two techniques? Okay? So finally, all that's left is for you to divide your coleslaw between the pair. So the two of you will take half home. So remember that you need a container. So I'm going to empty half of this into my container. Try and bring one that has a clip lock lid. Okay, so then there's no chance that it is going to leak in your bag. It's really important. Okay, so I have got my coleslaw to take home, and that's the end of the practical, and you take it home and enjoy it for dinner.